Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Normally, this is a dead week. This was a very busy week. Among other reasons, a lot of press around Trevor Noah, and Jerry Seinfeld must have had some sort of embargo in place, because I noticed on Tuesday as I was putting together all these shows, all of a sudden there were 10,000 Jerry Seinfeld articles. He's out promoting his new book, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, the book. The Hollywood Reporter asked Jerry who his comedy all-stars are. Jerry said, "Our generation? That's a little broad. What's the age range you're giving me to work?" Hollywood Reporter said, "Well, they should be alive and over 40. Jerry, alive and over 40. Who do I really love who I watched?" This is a little obscure. I don't know how deep you are into stand-up. Have you ever seen Fred Armisen stand up for drummers? It's on Netflix. You have to be able to play a snare drum to get a ticket to go to the show, because it's all about drumming, but it really isn't. It's only like 15, 20 minutes of drumming material, but it's absolutely brilliant. It's a great stand-up special. I love so many people. I love Ronnie Chang, who does The Daily Show. I love his stand-up. I think it's so excellent. I agree, Jerry. I love Earthquake. I think he's incredible. I like real hardball stand-up. I'm not interested in amusing anecdotes from your journal. I want to hear about things that absolutely could not have happened. I love everything Chris Rock does. I mean, like the guys who really go for jugular comedy-wise, right? Not so much. I want you to get to know who I really am. We need jokes. It's like the Woody Allen chicken joke. You remember that? It's like the guy goes to a psychiatrist. He says, "My brother thinks he's a chicken. I don't know what to do for him." The psychiatrist says, "Why don't you send him in?" And the guy says, "I would, but we need the eggs. We need the jokes." Trevor Noah spoke to the Hollywood Reporter about stand-up, and he said, "Stand-up has always been a wonderful outlet for me because The Daily Show exists in a hyper-political space. In my opinion, contrary to popular belief, I don't think people should exist constantly in politics. I don't think it's healthy. I don't think every conversation should lead with, 'Who did you vote for?' If you start conversations with politics, people have very few ways to connect because it's one of the most divisive topics we have. In my humble opinion, that's part of the problem. In America, politics has become like sports and everybody's engaged in it, so there are fewer and fewer cultural touch points that people share now. From my stand-up, particularly this special, it's me having an opportunity to break out of that world, out of politics. Like, here's a different way to talk about the pandemic that isn't framed around politics. I think we forget that we're also having human experiences. In my comedy, especially in this period of time, I want to share with an audience the idea that we can have more grace for each other and we can understand that people can make mistakes and good people can do bad things. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to define them as just bad or just good. I think life is a lot more nuanced and complicated. I'm making jokes about a world where some people are shocked that not everybody's mourning the royal family's loss. It's like, well, yeah, there are different perspectives in the world. I've been really lucky that I've been able to maintain a semblance of what my previous touring career was while hosting The Daily Show, but one of the aspects I had to let go of was being able to spend time either assimilating or observing or experiencing a world different to mine. This is really smart by Trevor. People are my passion, and what I like is understanding other human beings and learning their perspectives. So when I go do a show in Boston, I'd never like coming to Boston with preconceived notions of Boston. I like being in Boston, then doing comedy that's either inspired by Boston or is my perception of Boston based on what Boston is at the moment. So smart. For me, it's always meant that I've gotten to exist more authentically in a place. It means I've gotten to connect more holistically with an audience, and I felt more enriched because of that. Arenas are great because you get to celebrate what you've created with your fans, but remember, you don't make fans in an arena. You make fans in a smaller room. Amen. I think the same would be true for any artist, any musician, any live performer. You make fans in an intimate venue, and then you celebrate the journey with your fans in an arena. But I never want to lose sight of that close touch that you can have with being in a place. Also, great comedy comes from living life. So when you can go live life, when you go see all sides of an arena, what's it like in the morning? What's it like at night? What's the nightlife? I enjoy it. I participate in it. And it's where I get my material from. I'll tell you, I'm recording this on Tuesday, Thanksgiving. I wanted to hang out with my family a little bit and not sit in the basement all day. I was planning on watching Trevor Noah's special Tuesday night. I hope I actually did that. Really looking forward to that one. The Hollywood Reporter spoke with Jordan Klepper about The Daily Show and Trevor's impending departure. Jordan said, "I got to wear a lot of different hats over The Daily Show. So some of that, I think, is a reflection of how the timing in comedy's changed over the 6+ years. I arrived and I'm reading notes that were passed down from Stephen Colbert to all the correspondents about how you sit in a room and conduct an interview. I'm watching a videotape of Sam B. and John Oliver and how they interact with people. So right from the get-go, I have this beautiful alumni to learn the process of how you find humor and push people on their BS. So that was really integral into learning how to be a correspondent on The Daily Show. I was learning from Jon Stewart how to be there in the studio and also out in the field. Then as Trevor comes in as well, learning how to have that rapport and also find more authenticity within it. When I started with Jon Stewart, the role of the correspondent was a caricature of what a news person was. I think in this day and age, you're balancing that tool set with also an authenticity of being somebody who's earnestly frustrated with the world around them. That's an aesthetic Trevor brought into it. It's also just what happens when you have insurrections taking place on the evening news. Now I find myself inspired getting to work with so many great correspondents. When Roy came on, that was the first piece we did. And then to be able to suddenly bounce off somebody like him or Desi or be up against Ronnie Chang and look so much better than him in comparison. That's a real benefit. So thank you, Ronnie. I mean, there's a camaraderie that happens within a correspondent team and you're able to play off that energy. Then I go out in the field and the field can be a pretty lonely place, but I'm taking the skill sets that I've learned being part of the Daily Show alumni and then getting to interact with everyday Americans. Sean Patton's got a new special coming out December 2nd on Peacock. This is called Number One, and it was filmed in New Orleans, which is Sean Patton's hometown. The 90-minute special explores everything from Patton's, it's so hard for me to not say Patton Oswalt when I see Patton in copy, Sean Patton's obsessive-compulsive disorder to his madhouse of an upbringing and the broken yet unbreakable bonds of his family. Sean Patton said, the special is pure, uncut me, specifically the humiliating underbelly of my being. I wear it like a badge of honor, a one-man army of buffoonery. Couldn't be more excited to share it with the world, and I'm grateful for this whole team for helping me do it. Executive producer Michael Che said, Sean Patton is one of my favorite comedians to watch perform. He's incredibly original, thoughtful, and doesn't let fear get in the way of his truth. Sean is a fantastic comic. Check out this special. I'm very excited and thankful to work with Peacock and sharing this special, blah, blah, blah. Brian Posehn also will have a new special. This is on that pay-per-view site Moment that Dane Cook did his on. This special is called Posehna Non Grata. Great title, December 8th. And on TV tonight, Jeff Dunham, he's got his special on Comedy Central, 8 o'clock. He told CBS Mornings he's trying to bring comedy back to the less political stylings of hosts like Bob Hope or Johnny Carson or Jay Leno. Dunham told CBS you never knew what their side was politically. They'd make fun of anybody and everybody. He's not a fan of comedians who pick a side. He said, I think there's an easier way, a better way of just making a little fun of everybody because I think most people in this country have a decent sense of humor. Hey, quick shout out to listener Adam. He reached out to me on the side and we've been going back and forth and he seems to like the show. Really appreciate you for listening. And anybody who wants to connect, my contact info is in the show notes. So you can email me. I'm usually on Twitter. Facebook group is a great way. Daily Comedy News Podcast group. Always great to hear from listeners. And Adam, thank you very much. Big World Cup soccer today. I mean, it's been really hard watching these games. They start at 8 a.m. It's been good for like the morning workout, but I kind of need to work late mornings, specifically putting the show together. So as I'm recording this Tuesday, I'm not watching Mexico-Poland. But today, I will be in front of the TV. England takes on the United States. The other day, England warmed up for their first game against Iran by watching comedy duo Rob Beckett and Romesh Ranganathan's Three Lions special. Sunday night at the Team Hotel in Doha, they watched the Sky Max show. Insiders said the group were thoroughly entertained by the episode in which the pair of comedians visit St. George's Park for an England training camp. The other day, I was taking a look at San Francisco Sketchfest, and I said, oh, there's half of it left. All right, let me go back in and see what's coming up. This is Sketchfest coming up in January. As I mentioned earlier in the week, once Sketchfest rolls around, I'll do proper preview, but I'm just excited about what I'm seeing here. Saturday, January 28th, Houndtail with Moshe Kasher, The Farewell Show. It's a live podcast that takes a single topic and figures out the mysteries of the universe. Is he wrapping this up? Sunday the 29th, a Sketchfest tribute to Lorraine Newman with Dana Gould and some others. That sounds pretty cool. Lorraine Newman will be part of it. A Narfi afternoon with Pinky and the Brain featuring some of the cast. That's awesome. A Sketchfest tribute to David Alan Grier in conversation with Baron Vaughn. Yes, David Alan Grier is part of the tribute. Tuesday the 31st, Sketchfest tribute to Cheech and Chong, 50th anniversary celebration. Oh, I should do some bonus episodes, weekend filler of Cheech and Chong now that I know the 50th anniversary is coming up. Thank you, Sketchfest. On February 1st, a show called Nerd Rage, The Great Debates. No real household names here, but that's a weekly podcast where the moderator challenges members of the group to a no-holds-barred improvised debate about the most absurd of nerdy topics. That sounds like a good idea. I'm going to check that podcast out. February 2nd, a show called Filipino AF. I think that's a really funny title. I'm reading you about 1/20th of the shows. This festival is gigantic. February 4th, Perfect Strangers' 35th anniversary with the cast. That's neat. Judge John Hodgman is doing a show on the 4th. And on the 5th, Riffapalooza. Frank Conniff, Bill Corbett, Kevin Murphy, Jonah Ray, and some others. Sounds like a Mystery Science Theater type show with a lot of people who've been on Mystery Science Theater, but minus the branding. Okay. Gilda's Laugh Fest announced their dates for 2023. That'll be March 8th through the 12th. Gilda's Laugh Fest is held in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It raises awareness for Gilda's Club. There are Gilda's Clubs all over the world. They exist to provide free emotional health care to children, adults, families, and friends dealing with any kind of cancer journey or those grieving the death of someone in their life due to cancer. They have not yet announced a lineup, but they say there'll be family-friendly programming, headlining comics, and local favorites. And that is your comedy news for today. Follow the show for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, audio version on YouTube. See you tomorrow.